And welcome back to another episode of GL Rustic Design. Today we're going to be building a outdoor bed swing to go on a porch to fit a 53 by 75 mattress. So we're going to be beginning with the inside interior lats. Here I use 2x4s, thinking in the end to have a fully supported bed. So I cut the sides at 75 inches long, and then the middles they were all cut at 50 because you got to take away, you want the inside to be 53 by 75, and then by the time you take away the outside 2x4s, you end up with 50 inches for the middles. And then I used 3-inch torch screws, and I spaced these roughly 8 inches apart. If you ever build regular bed frames, those are 10 inches apart if you just have a mattress. So here I just done 8. Like I said, just in the end, I'll just to know that it's fully supported. And so on each side, I went ahead and I drilled 2 holes per lat on each side, and I'll knock those in place to make sure they're nice and center, and then put the 3-inch holes, the 3-inch screws to make sure that the middle is fully supported. And then from here I'll go, I went ahead and pre-cut all my material, which I will leave a cut list in the description below in the video. So here I'm going ahead and I'm drilling the holes in the side for when I connect the lats to the 2x10s on the outside. So each 2x10 you're gonna have 2 apiece, sides in the front and the back. So the ones that go in the front and the back, those will be 53 inches long, so it should be the same width as the lats. And then the ones that go on the side will be 78 inches long, so that you have to account for the thickness of the 2x10s on each side, and each 2x10 is 1.5 inches, so it gives you an extra 3 inches. So that's 78 on the side and 53 on the front and the back. And then you will take the 3-inch screws and screw those into the 2x10s. Here, as an alternate source, if you have a weight issue, I knew my customer had already told me that he was going to support his attic where the swing was going, so weight was not an issue. But here you could use 1x, just in case, like I said, if you have a weight issue. But here I used the same 3-inch torch screws, and then a T25 bit to connect the lats to the outside supporting 2x10s. And then you also go back and drill holes in these to connect all 4 2x10s. And then you can wood fill those in and sand it down and stain it whenever you get to that point towards the end of the video. While I have a second, I just want to say thank you for all the ones who have subscribed to my page, and please like and subscribe my channel. If you're interested in the content, we have a lot of stuff that's coming down the line. My wife and I, we are going to be building our house starting in November, and I'm going to get all that documented as we go. Try my best to get a start to finish video, or a piece by piece video of that, as well as we'll be building a new shop the same time that the house is getting built, or before the house will be built. We'll have a new shop too. So I'll go over the specs of that. The shop I currently have is a 24 by 36, and it is nowhere near big enough for what I need. My new shop is actually a 40 by 90, so it's going to be a very interesting change. Like I said, coming November, late this year, early next year. Hopefully everything should be done by next April, next May. But jumping back into the video, like I said, you have your 2x10s. The front and the back will be 53 inches, and then the outside ones will be 78 inches. And you'll connect those on the outside. Drill you. I put three 3-inch screws to connect all the 2x10s, and I also used a countersink bit so that I would not crack the edge of the 2x10. And also, sit on the inside. I had pre-drilled the holes, and I used 3-inch screws just to make sure that this thing does not come apart once it gets hung. And then moving on into the next part of the video, we're still connecting all these screws. There's quite a few screws to do, but going into the next part, we're going to be working on the headboard sides. Here, I just took a 2x4, ripped it in half, so 1 3/4 inches, and I used these for the sides and the back. The pieces that will go in the bottom, you want to put I put a 2-inch pocket screw go into the bottom, and then into the top, I used a 1.5 inch pocket screw. But you can use the Craig jig tool. Is what I used, or if you have another way of doing that, you can. Here I used I had 2x4s on each side. All of these pieces will be cut at 19 1/4. And the customer wanted the top to be 30 inches, and then the sides to be 20. And here there were 9 total ripped pieces, and then 2 2x4s for the outside. It's like I said, I used a 2-inch pocket screw for the bottoms, and then going into the top, I used a 1.5 inches. And then these are also, I had a spacer block that was, like I was saying, I had a spacer block that was 3 3.25 inches for these, and I use that as a guide as I spaced all these apart. So the bottoms, you'll use a 2-inch screw, which will give you the long bit with the Craig jig, and then the going from the these pieces going up, you'll use the smaller Craig jig tool to put the smaller screws in through the top. I said this is pretty much rinse and repeat all the way around. Just use that block as a guide. And it should come out. It should come out pretty even. And then when you flip it over and you go from the bottom side, I had made a mark on the spacer block to make sure that these are 1 inch from the front all the way around. See, if you wanted to, I like to try to hide as many screw holes as I can. You could come from the top down, but I chose to use this block. It made quick work of all of this. Like I said, I had made them. I had marked off 1 inch, as you see what I'm doing right now, to get a better accurate measurement. To make sure all of these blocks are even. You can also, instead of ripping the 2x4s. I keep a lot of 2x4s on hand. You can always buy the 2x2 from Lowe's or your local hardware store, instead of, if you don't have a table saw to rip them. But moving on, going into the sides, like I said, same thing. The sides are going to be, they're going to be 9 1/4. Like I said, to make this 20 inches tall. You got 9 1/4, then you have the 2x10, and then you have the top 2x4 piece. I used 5 of these, same method. Used the spacer block to make sure all these were even. Went through and drilled the 2-inch hole on the bottom, which you see me drilling in now, and then to go from the underside through the top, I used a 1 1/4 screw, and then also used that same 1 1/4 pocket hole to go through, to put the top 2x4 to connect it to the back side, and just so it stays secured. Like I said, same concept here. You can see me, I'm putting the pocket hole in the back side of the 2x4, and then I'll come back from the bottom side and connect that in. Like I said, you can also, if you wanted to, you could go from the back and just use a screw through the back just to hold that steady. If y'all want to comment below, if you want to see me I build all kind of custom things for customers. I try to pick and choose things that I really don't do a whole lot of. I do, if y'all want to see entertainment centers being built, kitchen islands, as you can see, is what's right beside me. I was finishing that up. It's the same time that I was doing this bed swing. Both went out the same weekend. If you want to, that would be a very detailed, long video. If you'd like to see something like that, please comment below and let me know. And then going into the next part, as when I put the eye bolts in, I believe I used a thicker eye bolt. It was a 1/2 inch diameter eye bolt. So I drilled the same hole that I needed, and the square that I used, I just went from however the length to where I'm drilling the actual hole. I went 4 inches down, just to be on top of that 2x4 base, so it doesn't really give it a lot of room to bend. But I said I drilled a hole, and then I screwed in each eye bolt to the sides, and then I came back and I stained it. I stained the whole bed classic gray. It's a stain made by Minwax. You can pick it up at your local hardware store. I got mine from Lowe's. We have a Lowe's that's on my way home from work, going back to home. Home Depot, I think they don't carry Minwax, but anyways, like I said, I used the stain classic gray. I'm not going to stain the whole thing, just for time's sake, for the video. I also went back afterwards and I applied 2 coats of indoor outdoor, also made by Minwax polyurethane. It comes in a green can if you get it from Lowe's. It says indoor outdoor. I think the name of it is Houseman. It's like HEILSMAN. Like I said, make sure you apply that on there just to further help keep this all nice and done. And then also the next few videos is just a very quick walk around of the bed after the polyurethane was applied, and then the final 4 pictures is the supporting cast that the customer used. I did not hang it, but he hung it and sent me pictures afterwards. He'd used a shock absorbing spring to connect to the eye bolts from the bed frame, and then He used a thicker chain. You could also use a rope instead of where he used a chain. And then he went into his attic above his porch and wrapped around the 2x10s as a solid hold. And then you see pictures of the beautiful bed frame once it's done. Like I said, trying to get better at this YouTube thing. If y'all want to like and subscribe to my page, I'd greatly appreciate it. We'll have a lot more content coming. Thank you.